Welcome to my channel. I'm Divine Ascension, here to help you ascend, doing a twin flames and separation reading. Now I address Divine Feminine. It's Divine Feminine, it's not a gender. It is a polarity. Divine Masculine as masculine. That is also a polarity, not a gender. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to take a look at where the feminine's energies are right now. What do we got? All right. We got the King of Swords. So feminine is in an energy right now. It's King of Swords reversed, where she's starting to realize exactly who she is. She's starting to realize her power. She's starting to understand the power that she has on a masculine and just in the world in general. She's learned through this connection that she has the ability to manifest things into reality, things that she never thought she could. Let's go ahead and look at the masculine, where his energies currently are. And we've got, interesting, the Queen of Swords reversed. So right now, masculine, I'm getting that he really, it's kind of, I guess bitchy would be a good word to describe it. I think he's really in his feelings right now. It could be that something just happened with the connection, or even something outside of the connection. It could be issues with families, like issues with his financial circumstances. But right now, he's just not in the best spirits, and he's really in his feelings. You know, if you've interacted with your masculine lately, you might have found that he's pretty cold-hearted right now. You're not getting, I would say, the best of him right now. Next, let's look at the connection. Do have the Star card. Star card also does represent Aquarius energy. So this could be either an Aquarius masculine or Aquarius feminine. Now with the Star card is all about, it's all about having hope and faith for things. When you get a Star card in the middle of like an event, you know, or if you look at it as far as towards the connection, it could be a sense of renewal to the connection. So I think even with the Queen of Swords that we were getting reversed, I love also how both the feminine and the masculine came up right next to each other, but also reversed, just really truly highlighting that connection. But if we're looking at the connection, it's the Star card could definitely be representing renewal. So this emotional place that the masculine may be in may very well be tied to the connection and could be the cause of the renewal in the connection. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at, I want the feminine to see what it is that she's missing about this connection. Got the Queen of Cups reverse. Feminine, what are you missing? So what I'm getting here is that she's missing the cues from this connection on her inner state. I think that this connection is bringing up so many things that need to heal. And she's so focused on this physical person. She's so focused on this connection that she's missing the blatant cues that the universe is giving her for what she needs to work through to ultimately receive this connection. She's being shown the things that are blocking her from receiving not just even the masculine in this connection, but things beyond that. You know, feeling a lack mentality towards love also means that you could be manifesting that financially. It also means that you could be manifesting that materially. If you don't feel like you deserve love or manifest lack of love into your life, it's not going to just affect you with your masculine. It can affect you in all other areas of your life. What else does the feminine not see? I've got the Six of Wands reversed. So with Six of Wands reversed, ultimately feminine, you're not seeing that there's a lot of ego attached to this connection and what it looks like. You don't see that that's fueled by a lack of confidence. One of the biggest cover-ups for lack of confidence is control. You know, if you see somebody walking down the street and, you know, they're walking with their shoulders back and they're confident, cool, and collected, odds are that person has enough experience or has really worked on themselves enough that they don't really give a shit what happens once they get to the end of that street, because they believe in themselves enough to know that they'll be able to overcome those things. As it relates to the connection, I think Divine Feminine she's been going through this connection, trying to hold on to a sense of control because of the lack of confidence that she has either in herself or in, the outcome of the connection and what she wants that to be. And I think just looking at that needing to control, that needing to be within your ego to control and understand what outcomes is actually manifesting the opposite of what you want. You're communicating to the universe that I don't believe that I can have this, that I don't believe that this is possible. And through that, that's exactly what ends up happening. What else does the feminine need to know? Not the Judgment card. So the Judgment card, and I want to say that that's Virgo energy. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe that is Virgo. Yeah, it's Virgo energy. So with the Judgment card, what I'm getting here is, and it kind of goes hand in hand, I think, with this Six of Wands reversed as well. Like, you have your mindset of what it's supposed to look like, of how your masculine is supposed to act, how your love story is supposed to play out. And I wanna make a bet, right? I want to bet that is not turning out like your favorite romantic comedy. You haven't gone through the montage of hard, deep work where you really grow as a person, which only lasts like a minute or two within the movie. And you expect that it's gonna go like that. You have a 2-minute montage of you doing your healing work, and then boom, it's all supposed to work out. And when that doesn't happen, a lot of animosity is built up towards your masculine. A lot of feminines don't understand why the masculine runs. Well, it's this energy right here. I was saying on my TikTok earlier today to somebody in the comments, you got to think of, for the masculine, it's like you come home from a really hard day of work. You've been busting your ass all day, and you take off your coat, you take off your shoes, you finally sit down on the couch and you're relaxing, and somebody busts in the room with a list of more things that you need to do. That is oftentimes how the masculine feels with your judgment of the way that things should look. And the thing about the masculine is it's not very complex. It's very simple. It's a logical person that logically, makes decisions and does things, whereas the feminine becomes from a more of an emotional standpoint. So when the masculine's approached with these very emotional expectations and judgments of what he's not doing, it is so hard for him to understand, firstly, where all that's coming from, but then also what to do with that energy when he's doing the best that he can, right? From the place that he is. Because this is not conscious to him. This connection is not conscious. This connection is something that he meets you, and it's great. He doesn't know why he's so attracted to you. He just is. He doesn't likely ask those questions. He really just, and then until one day, this judgment is just too much for him. Your energy becomes too much for him, and he doesn't want anything to do with you. And it's when you finally release control and take your hand off the wheel and say, you know what, universe, you've gotten me to this point and done a pretty damn good job. I'm just going to leave this to you. It's at that point that he's coming back, beating down your door. And again, he has no idea why. Beating down your door to try to make things work. And again, he doesn't know why. It's not conscious for him. It's unconscious, and you have complete control of it. What else? So we've got the Six of Swords. So what you don't know is this is not just like you run a 100-meter dash and then that's it. And I think even going back to the expectations, we meet the person and we fall for them. It's happily ever after. That's not what's going on here. It's not what's happening. And that's likely what's pissing you off. That is likely what causes the big arguments. That's likely what causes for you to always be upset with your masculine or what he's doing, and ultimately why he ran, because this is not a race. It is a marathon. This is a journey, and you don't put time frames on journeys because anything can pop up. Anything can pop up. And you tell me about a time where you made plans to go do something and it went exactly the way that you expected. It just doesn't work like that. And this is one of the things, feminine, that you must be aware of. What else? One more for what the feminine does not know. And we've got the King of Wands. So with the King of Wands energy, really what we're looking at is you don't see that the actions that you've taken in this connection have been based off of high expectations. And let's talk a little bit about expectations now, real quick. So if I say to somebody, I have the expectation that every time you see me, you're going to say hello and ask me how I'm doing. And if you don't do that, I'm going to be pissed. So the same person that I told this expectation to, I see them at the grocery store and they've got their child and their child is having a fit. And I walk up to them and of course I had that expectation, but something else is happening and it doesn't happen. I'm pissed because I set this expectation with no wiggle room, with no regard for anything outside of myself or circumstances that I cannot see. It's very egotistical. It's very self-centered in a lot of ways. And it's those expectations that keep you, divine feminine, pissed off. What it comes down to is, and one of the biggest lessons that the universe has brought to me is there's a difference between expectation and expecting. I expect that my divine masculine is going to, I'm expecting that my divine masculine will get there one day. I know that he has it in him, but if it doesn't happen tomorrow, since I'm expecting, it's a verb, right? Since I'm expecting that one day he's going to get there, if in a month he's not there, it's no harm, no foul. My feelings aren't hurt. As opposed to if I expect the divine masculine to clear all of his trauma and all the things that I'm reflecting back to him, that he clear all those things and be with me. That's really not a relationship, right? That's really not love. That's a very conditional thing. The King of Wands is really pointing out here. It's what you don't realize is that you have these high expectations. You're so hasteful and ruthless for how you think things can be that you leave no room for the masculine to even love you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what the masculine really wants to tell you. This is insane. And I shuffled my deck. Look, we got the Queen of Wands talking about the feminine. And this is the same thing that happened, and it's reversed, right? The king is coming up for the feminine, and the queen is coming up for the masculine, and this is the second time it's happened, and it's the same each time. It's been the same. It's been the same suit. This is saying something. Before I even look at the Queen of Wands, the biggest thing about this journey that I don't think that people understand, that the lesson that can be learned, is you each hold traits that the other person needs. That's why the mirror is so important. That's why you use the mirror as your map to grow. Because divine masculine, he leaves because he knows how to set boundaries. He leaves because he knows how to put himself first. And then the feminine knows how to give her heart completely to situations and to people. The feminine knows how to nurture and be there, even when it's hard. And if you guys could just take those traits and take them on from yourself, what you have is balance and ultimately union. But let's go ahead and look at the Queen of Wands here. So we got the Queen of Wands reversed. And this is what the masculine wants you to know. So he wants you to know that you come across to him as really aggressive and really demanding. It goes back to that point that I was making earlier. Just think about coming home from a long day and having somebody come after you've worked your ass off, you've given everything that you've got, and told you that it's not enough. Think about how that would feel. Think about doing the best that you can, and that the world does this to us already. Doing the best that you can every single day, and being told that it's not enough. That is how the masculine feels in so many ways. But the feminine really gets so busy just looking at the actions without looking at theirs and their contribution to the outcome. Their, how they influence that. It's all just, oh, my masculine's a piece of shit. He's running again. He doesn't care. He doesn't care as much as I do. What else does he want? What else is the masculine trying to say to you? And I've got the Seven of Cups for that. So for the Seven of Cups, I mean, you can kind of just look at the picture and tell. Like, there's all these different things in here, right? There's some jewelry. There's a snake, if that's what you want. Looks like a castle. There's a lot going on in here. You've even got the reef there from the World card, which is definitely a completion card. But there's so much going on in there. And what he's saying to you is that your focus and, your hyper focus on him and what he's doing makes you miss out on all these things. And all these things that also could contribute to your happiness so that you're not seeking it from him. Because he's, again, that expectation. He's always going to let you down. It's never going to be enough. You're never, it's something that you can't fill. It's a void that can't be, there's nothing he could do to fill that. You've got to do that on your own. And he's pointing out, there's all these things. There's your family, right? There's that hobby that you're so good at, that he's told you and encouraged you many times about, that you haven't put any focus on. There is your spirituality. There's meditating. There's doing that shadow work, right? There's, maintaining your friendships, because most twin flame relationships, I feel like they ghost their friends. They disappear. And their relationship becomes the main focus of their life. There's those friendships. There's those family events that you could be going to. And when you fill your life up with all these things, divine masculine, not saying what you want him to say or doing what you want him to do, becomes a lot less important. In fact, I don't think you even have the time to focus on it. What else is the divine masculine saying to you? And we have got the Nine of Cups reversed. So divine masculine is saying that you're looking for this material manifestation of these desires that you want on the outside. Like, what I'm getting here is like, you wanted the fairy tale, right? You wanted to feel like the princess walking down the aisle, a fast whirlwind relationship where it ends in a diamond ring and a proposal and ultimately the best wedding on the earth, right? And, what he's pointing out here is that, you are dissatisfied because it doesn't look that way. And that is clearly beyond his control. It's even beyond your control in a lot of ways. All right, last one. What else is the masculine saying to you? And we got the Ten of Cups reversed. I like how we're kind of even progressing up. We've got a lot of cups here. Last three ones have been cup cards. Went from 7 to 8 to 10. Or excuse me, 7 to 9 to 10. So we're looking at, and ultimately what that means is we're moving through a cycle here. Like we're looking at the different steps in the cycle. Now with the Ten of Cups reversed, he's just, he's letting you know that all of these things that we've been talking about so far is what causes the disconnection. It's that focusing on all these material manifestations, right? So having a thought of how something should be and then wanting to see that happen in your life. He's like, because there's all these expectations and because that is your idea of what things could look like and because that's not something that you're willing to let go, that is why you guys are not aligned. That, that looking outside of yourself or even looking to him is why you guys are not in alignment with the connection. It's ultimately why you guys have struggled in your relationship. And mind you, a relationship with so much chemistry, a relationship with so much connection, a relationship that, many people were even lucky to experience. He's saying, we can't. He's like, we could have this, but you're playing, right? You have expectations of all these things. And even when the good times come, you don't even see it because you're so focused on what the picture is supposed to look like to you, right? On what you thought it was supposed to look like. And if it's not like this all the time, if it doesn't look like this when you want it to, well, Throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's no good. Masculines go good. You're on the comment section of tarot readings talking shit, right? You're talking about how your masculine ain't shit, and then you're wondering why he doesn't come back. All right. What should the feminine be focusing on? Let's go a little bit more into that. What should the feminine be focusing on? I'm going to pull another card to go with this one. We got the Devil reversed and the Page of Swords. So, Devil reversed, right? I really, I love the Devil card because it points out some really important things. So, the biggest thing, I mean, we've talked about mindsets, right? We've talked about expectations, but what you should really be focusing on, the Devil card is looking at those belief systems, right? Exploring them. I think that we always want to, especially when it comes to the masculine, right? You know, oh, he's the cause of these feelings. Like it's his fault if he wouldn't have done this or if he wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't feel that way. But the reality of the situation is in a twin flame connection, what's being mirrored and triggered was already there, right? Like for example, if I've never been stolen from, I would never be angry at people that steal, right? I couldn't watch like a news story talking about people stealing from a store and be angry because it had never happened to me, right? I would be objective in a way to that. However, the first time somebody steals with me, let's say somebody steals $100, and it's somebody that I know and love, that I care for, and they steal $100 from me. If I was to see that same news story, my entire perspective on that's going to change. I'm going to have a whole different reaction because I had already experienced it, right? Because that action had already hurt it so badly in me. And so what the Devil is saying, what you should be focusing on is what's the cause of all these things, right? Some common twin flame triggers. Feeling abandoned. Your masculine wasn't, if you're triggered about him leaving, it wasn't the first time you've been left. And it's very easy to take what's right in front of you, right, or what's closest to you and make that the cause. That's taking the easy road. Take the hard road, right? Walk down that dark road by yourself. It's scary and it's tough, but that is ultimately the things that need to happen for the connection to come into alignment. And it can't until that happens, right? And that is why so many twin flame couples spend so much time apart, is because they're unwilling to walk down that road and say, okay, I see twin flame triggers as the most divine love because they just gave you a very specific arrow to where you need to go to relieve yourself from continuing to feel that pain. I can't think of what is more beautiful than that. I can't think of what is more unconditional love than showing somebody exactly what they need to do to heal. And with the Page of Swords reversed, it's really saying that this is going to, give you new ideas of how things are supposed to be. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. I think in my experience in doing shadow work, when you go back and you find that 5-year-old that was abandoned and you put your attention and consciousness there, the love that comes out of that for yourself is one that I'm sure that you never could imagine. And when you feel that love and going back and being with that child that was abandoned, right? Or whatever the circumstance may be, when you put your consciousness there, not outside of yourself, right? Not on your masculine, because that's the easy thing to do, right? Oh, you left me. This is all your fault why I feel this way. No, I'm talking about that inner child, that little girl or that little boy that was abandoned for the first time. And when you put your consciousness there and you are there for that child and you validate that child and you help bring that child through and heal that child, there is no love like that love. And that only makes the love within your connection stronger. And let's be serious, unconditional. Because then it's not, I'll love you when you don't trigger me, or I'll love you when you do exactly what it is that I want. Now we do got the Chariot, that is Cancer energy, that could be either for the divine feminine or the masculine. and the King of Swords. So what else you should be focusing on? So with the Chariot energy, something that I feel like people don't talk about in this twin flame community, which I think is really important, is emotional control, or you could even call it emotional security or maturity. So many feminines become their emotions, right? And I mean that's the biggest thing that causes causes a rift in this relationship is everything is so emotional, right? Your feelings are so hurt, you're so triggered. Well, the Chariot's really about learning that control. And it's not to say that you're not going to experience your emotions, but when you can first recognize that, one, your emotions are the physical bodily manifestation of your thoughts, and then take that another step and realize that your thoughts are a physical manifestation or a thought form manifestation, I'll say, of your traumas, right? Because that voice in your head is like a sponge. It's been a sponge all your life, and it's sucked up all these experiences, and it's created a narrative. It's your narrator. It's your life narrator, and it's created this persona based on all of these things that you've gone through, and then it's become your protector. And so let's look at that. You've got a protector that's been built into a voice in your head, and that voice in your head creates your emotions. So how do you learn how to control that? I mean, it comes back to, if you zoom out wider from that, it's about realizing that you're not that voice. Now, when you realize that you're not that voice, if you're not that voice, who are you? Well, what I would suggest is observing it. And when you observe it enough, what you'll realize, this entire time, you were never that voice. You were the one that had the ability to watch that voice. And I mean, we were talking about earlier the judgment card. That narrator, right? Your ego, we call it, inner voice, your protectant companion, is the main place in which judgment takes place. Because judgment always is either what you don't inhibit or what you do. We always judge what we judge within ourselves or what we don't have the ability to be, right? And going back to that, right? This is a huge thing about this connection is this is what's causing the problem. So if this is what's causing the problems, that lack of control of your emotional inner state is also the other thing. I mean, because think about it. If you're always constantly judging situations, if you're always constantly letting the inner dialogue that you have becoming your reality, well, that's why your masculine runs. Now, to even go hand in hand with that, we've got the Knight of Swords. We got a lot of sword energy, a lot of sword energy today. So with the Knight, it's about putting as much energy into this that controlling your emotions, that really investing into just observing what's there first, and willing to do that shadow work and go deep with what you find. If you were, because this is like, think about this is kind of how you act towards your masculine, right? You're ready to go into battle, you'll fight anybody, right? You're ready to do what it takes. What if you did that for yourself? What if you put that same energy into understanding your emotions, why they're there, and working with that and self-healing? What would happen? I'm just going to throw it out there. What would happen? I'll just leave it at that. What would happen if you did that? All right, lastly, on what you will need to focus on. Got the Wheel of Fortune. And just the ultimate reinforcement of everything I just said. I'm like, Spirit, I'm done saying that. It's like, oh, no, let's just reinforce it real quick. So, Wheel of Fortune is really about good luck, right? Clearing out karma, releasing things, right? It's really about a turning point. So this is that part of your romantic comedy where the montages happen, where all the hard work happens, and, divine feminine and divine masculine finally meet back up, and everything's changed. That's what the Wheel of Fortune is. But we also have the Six of Cups here. So the Six of Cups, really what I'm getting there is it's like about that shadow work, right? It's about regaining the innocence back. It's about going back to the first time that those things happened, that the masculine triggers in you. It's about going back there and really doing the tough work. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you can do this because, I want you to be able to do the self-healing. So I'll talk to you about some resources that you can use to get to those places. All right. So let's talk about some advice from your higher self. I've got the Five of Cups. So your higher self is saying you look at all of this like a failure. You're so disappointed with the way things are. Now, I think I'm a little biased because I do quantum healing hypnosis techniques, which is a past life regression hypnotism where people are able to see their past lives. One thing that I've learned is, one, there's really nobody that you can blame for your story but yourself because, I don't know, you wrote it. You picked all these details out for the lessons that you wanted to learn. That's part of it. But two, even if you don't look at it from that standpoint, everything that you see in your life, everything that you can touch, you put it there. I mean, you're so powerful. You literally are manifesting your reality. If you're in a place where you have these expectations, if you're in a place where your masculine's not living up to them, if you're in a place where he ran, you did all of that yourself. What this card reading is showing you is how to flip that over, right? To actually do the things that get you the results that you want. If you want to be with your masculine, having all these expectations and judgments of him is not going to be what gets him to come back, period. As hard as you try, it's never going to happen that way. What this is saying is you look at this like it's a failure. You look at this like you've lost the race, when it actually is the complete option. Let's go ahead and get a clarification on that, just to drive the point home a little bit more. Got the Emperor reverse. This is also Aries energy, so if it resonates, cool. If not, cool. So the thing about the Aries is like reverse, or the Emperor reversed. You can say this about Aries too. It's really about like I think a good word to say is like being overbearing and trying to dominate situations. To me, Emperor reverse is really like a really bad ruler, somebody that really abuses their power. And again, going back, we were talking about this earlier, like lack of confidence or fake confidence really derives from having no belief in yourself or circumstance or the universe. So when we're looking at that Five of Cups, right, you see this as a failure. And so you're going to just try to control things. You're like looking at the situation, and because it all hasn't worked out yet, or because you can't see the bigger picture, which sometimes you're not supposed to, right? That kind of ruins the fun. You're just like, I'm just going to control this myself. And you don't have the wherewithal or the knowledge, not to say that you're not smart, but you don't have eyes on everything. You don't know how all this is working out. You don't know all the things that the universe is doing to make all this work in your favor. So you're wasting your energy, right? All right, let's some more messages from the higher self. Got the Ace of Swords. I'm going to pull out another one for that. And we've got the that's the Nine of Pentacles. So the Ace of Swords, right? Your higher self is trying to tell you that you're breaking through to another level, right? You're breaking through to another level of ascension by coming into realization and being exactly where you're at, right? You are finally clearing out some of these things that have been plaguing you for a very long time. And ultimately, this Ace of Swords is a success card. Well, let's look at that with combo with the Nine of Pentacles. So the Nine of Pentacles, right? It's about abundance, right? It's about living your best life. It's about being able to stand on your own, not needing anything outside of yourself to be happy or to feel successful. So we've got the Ace of Swords, success, right? The Ace of Swords, where you're really breaking through to another level, right? And you're clearing out those mind patterns, right? That programming that has made you who you are today. And you start to live your best life. You start to be chilling in a field with birds hanging out, just being a queen. What else? What else is a higher self? Gotta say, I got another ace. You guys are on fire today. It's really happening. Got the full reverse. So Ace of Wands, right? You are going to be inspired to do things that I don't think you've ever done before. To do things that you maybe never had the courage to do. To really start a new beginning. You know, be the person that your mind, the ego, has been telling you, oh, you'll be your best version of yourself when you're masculine and you finally get together. Oh, you'll be the best person that you're supposed to be when you finally get that promotion at work. You'll be the best person when your mother finally accepts you for who you are. Instead of just being like, if I'm not the mind, the thing that's constantly telling me that, if I'm in, which, by the way, the mind can only be in two places, right? Past or the future. The present moment is where everything's happening. And actually, the present moment is what makes that future that you're betting on for everything to finally click into place. So if you're in one of those two places, you're never actually, it's kind of a trick because you're not actually putting in the steps and the work to make the future a reality because your mind is elsewhere. One of those two places. Talk about that in a second. I want to also talk about the Fool reverse, right? The Fool reversed, I love the Fool because upright is very innocent. It kind of goes back to that child that's never been hurt, the child that wasn't abandoned. Now we do have it reversed. So I kind of see this like, yeah, this is the innocence, right? This is, I've never been hurt. You know, I come at things with, clear eyes, and I can see things just, innocently. Then you reversed it, right? You hold things back, right? You're holding yourself back from these new beginnings. You're holding yourself back from allowing for the ego and your emotions to control everything. To not realizing that your thoughts are creating your reality. You're reckless in this state too, right? Where you're so hurt, you're not necessarily dealing with that pain, that you act out from that pain, right? You respond from that pain, and you take risks with yourself, with others. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I do private readings. You can reach me at divineascensionhealing.com. Right now I have a 25% off special. You guys can keep watching these readings, or we can actually take some steps towards getting you in union. I advise that you read 2 books. Check them out. First is The Completion Process. This is a one and done shadow work modality. You're going to go back to those memories, to the first time that some of these triggers have happened, and work with that inner child to start to release those things. What happens with the inner child and those traumatic experiences is they stay stuck there. And oftentimes we go into adulthood not even realizing that we left them there. This is you going back within yourself and getting that child, you, the younger you, and bringing that child and integrating that back within yourself. Because right now they're kind of stuck deep down inside of you and alone. That book is called The Completion Process by Teal, Swan. The second book is The Power of Now, talking about the mind, talking about being present, not being either in the past or the future. The Power of Now is the perfect modality for learning how to gain that control, like the Chariot card that we saw. Gain that control back over your emotions and over, your responses to your triggers. It really breaks it down in any way that it could possibly be broken down, and really gives you a practice to create peace right now, to be that person that you want to be right now. Again, that's The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Again, I'm Divine Ascension, here to help you ascend. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.